Friends and family, welcome back to the experience, the Mac Movie Review Experience, a subset on Mac Music Review. And today, guys, I have to talk about this show. You may have heard of it. It's called This show is absolutely sick. It's such a cool show. It's so slick. It's so slimy. It's so nasty. The characters are freaking horrible people that you kind of hate and you kind of love. Like, easily the most impressive aspect of this show is the characters. The fact that you can start this show absolutely hating some characters like Tom and Connor, and by the end of season 3, or even the end of season 1, be empathizing with Tom. And the fact that you can take this lovable character like Greg and slowly make him into this slimy, nasty, terrible person throughout the course of the show is very impressive, and it's good writing. Easily the second best aspect of the show. The writing in the show is absolutely killer. The entire thing is snappy one-liners and sick burns. I'm sure that Aaron Sorkin is just so unhappy and so upset that he is not directly involved in the making of this show, because it absolutely feels like if you know what I'm saying, the dialogue from The Social Network, or I'm trying to think of another Aaron Sorkin project or the dialogue in All About Eve, that 50s movie. You know, it's just really sharp insults and crazy clever quips and responses to other clever quips on top of clever quips is the whole thing. So if you are a sucker for things like that, dialogue that is not at all realistic but very pleasing to the ears and very just well written. I don't know how to describe it, but the writing in this show is pretty sick. Plot is second to these characters and to this writing, and at times the plot can be even hard to follow in terms of all of this business lingo and terminology, a lot of which sometimes I'm just not following at all. But that's one of the best and most impressive feats of the show, is how investing it can be, even when the stuff they're talking about is stuff that goes completely over my head that I don't really understand. What you do understand is these characters and their motivations and how they all are vying for a position of power, and just seeing how this power kind of corrupts them and brings out the worst in them. They're already terrible people, but how the worst of them is brought out by their desire to constantly impress their father, the worst of them all, and their constant desire to be at the top of this company. People like the first season. The first season gets decently good ratings with 2 very highly rated episodes. And then after the first season, the show gets amazing reviews by critics and audiences. They just love the show in seasons 2 and 3. But I would argue that even season 1 is a really, really great season of television, especially by the end. I would say the turning point is episode 6. If you're not super into the show, by the time you get to episode 6, you will be hooked and you will be invested. And especially that season finale is just absolutely a game changer in terms of the plot. It is the biggest event and the biggest single thing that happens in the entire show, I would say, happens at the end of season 1. And the single most dramatic and serious, I can't spoil anything, but the show, it's pretty cool. I don't have a whole lot more to say about it other than that it is very consistent. Every single season of this show is great. Season 1 is great. The next 2 seasons are kind of amazing, with so many amazing moments. And this show has a ton of characters, and they're all great. It's amazing how great these characters are. Even someone like Connor, who is such a joke, who's such a ridiculous comic relief character, and Greg, who's such a loser in the first season, and when you meet him, he's such a Weasley little, not necessarily, he's more of a rat than a weasel, but he's not as nasty as someone like Roman or Shiv or even Kendall to an extent. Kendall's more pathetic than anything else. But without spoiling anything, guys, I think I just want to say, just stop it right there. I think I've said all that I need to say. More people need to watch this show because it truly is one of the great TV shows, especially right now. And if I had to give this show a score, if I had to give it a score, it's a fat 9 out of 10 for me, dog. Like, bro, what else is there on TV right now? Current shows that are amazing. Invincible, that is supposedly getting another season. Smiling Friends, both shows I did not talk about. And then Better Call Saul. These are all shows that I haven't talked about on the channel. I don't talk about TV shows too often because I'm not as big of a TV guy. I really love movies. TV is kind of second fiddle to movies just because TV is such a time commitment. But I flew through this show. I mean, there were times when I could not put it down, where I had to keep watching. And I would encourage you to keep watching, even if you're not loving it in the first few episodes. I actually was kind of hooked from the first episode. I found the characters and the narrative very engaging, and the writing all very engaging in the very first episode. But stick with it if you don't love it at first, because it's worth it. Have you seen the show? What are your thoughts? What else should I be watching, guys? Like I challenge you to name another like amazing show that is on television right now. That is a show that's not currently over. You can't say Peaky Blinders. I want you guys to tell me a show that is going on right this minute. Something that's not animated also, because Smiling Friends and Invincible are amazing and those shows are still going on and I love them. But name me another live action show, because I'm more familiar with animated stuff. I'm not the biggest watcher of live action TV, honestly, unless it's like comedy. But guys, let me know. What are you watching right now? Also, have a great rest of your day.